Say hi, Edgar. That's my main man, Edgar. Yo, this is my first time doing the Instagram, the IG movie thing. So I have no idea if I'm doing this correctly. I don't know if y'all are seeing me. I'm gonna take a shot because it's fight night. It's the daytime now. The big fight. Triple G, Canelo 2. The rematch, the grudge match. First and foremost, salam alaikum, peace. Beautiful day out here. So I'm excited. Almost exactly a year ago today, I did a video for the first fight. I said that it was my opinion that Triple G would win 7-8 rounds cleanly, fairly easily, and it was my assessment that he would get robbed. Possibly an L, maybe a draw. It's exactly what happened. His jab was beautiful. He cut the ring off well. He landed more shots. He threw more shots. Canelo had moments early and late. If you know anything about Canelo historically, he always fades late. So to any of you that think that what he got popped for wasn't a factor, you're naive. Again, ironically, he came on late, and ironically, what Clan does for you is gives you some energy late. I said this again the first time around, that Canelo fades, the lactic acid in his back eventually leads to him getting sluggish in later rounds. Obviously, he only has one loss to Floyd, so it's not something that is really plagued him. It hasn't affected his career negatively. I thought he lost to Lara as well, Erislandy Lara. I thought he lost that fight, but whatever. He's still a great fighter. I was always a Canelo fan, so don't get anything twisted. But I'm just a Golovkin guy, but I always was a Canelo fan, so this isn't biased. You know what I'm saying? But the first fight, I had it 116, 112, Golovkin. I didn't think it was difficult to score at all. The reason that it's referred to as a controversial decision is because that's how most people saw it. People who understand how you score fights. So the second time around, I don't know that these guys make adjustments. They are who they are. I'd like to see Golovkin go to the body more. The reason he didn't, because he was scared of getting countered over the top. If he went to the body, he was scared of the counter over the top. We also, but we saw Canelo land a beautiful right hand, clean on Golovkin, and he smiled at it and waved him on. Ask any fighter, amateur or pro, what happens when you land your best shot on someone and they walk right through it and laugh. It's disheartening, to say the least. It's over, mentally speaking. I'm not saying it's over like the fight's over, but it takes your soul from you. We should have had the rematch 6 months ago, but again, he got popped twice for banned substance, PEDs. If you saw the weigh-in yesterday, he looked noticeably smaller. Again, another thing that I don't know how his defenders look, man. Historically, some people I love got popped. You know what I'm saying? Mosley got popped. I was a Mosley fan. You know what I'm saying? James Toney got popped. James Toney's one of my favorite fighters of all time. I didn't try to defend their actions. I knew they got popped. They pissed dirty. That's, you know what I'm saying? For any of y'all that think that he wasn't, who believe the tainted meat story, I got a bridge to sell you. Recently, Lance Pugmire, he writes for the LA Times, interviewed a Mexican fighter who trains in Mexico and eats meat that is pumped with clan often. And Pugma asked him, why don't you piss dirty? And flat out, you know what he said? He said, I eat the meat. I don't inject anything. So realistically, for levels like that to come, you're just naive, and it says a lot about you as a person to deny it. Accept that your fighter cheated. He could still be a guy, you know, and moving forward, hopefully he'll be clean. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's happened to me. To me, it's like you got to be out of your mind to not think Pacquiao was gassed for that run where he was knocking out. A guy who turned pro at 105 pounds was knocking out big welterweights. I mean, he's obliterating, you know, Cotto, obliterating De La Hoya, obliterating big dudes. You know what I'm saying? You have to be incredibly naive. The undercard, there's some guy, you know, Chocolatito's on there. He's fighting Moises Fuentes. I feel like it's an easy touch for Chocolatito to get back in the W column and make that last run for some money fights. When he lost the second fight, I thought he should have retired, but we'll see how he looks tonight. You know, if he looks incredible, then go for one more money fight. Lemieux, Spike O'Sullivan, potential for barn burner there. Who I'm trying to think. Jaime Munguia is fighting as well. Jaime Munguia is they're hyping him as, you know, an up and coming good fighter. I've seen him a couple times. Solid skill set. He got a little pop. You know, got a little pop. But to the main event, you know, Canelo, Triple G. I like to see G come out and be aggressive early on, bang the body. You know, people are talking about his age at 36, and I understand that. And fighters can get old overnight, but that happens with certain fighters, and other fighters it doesn't. When you look at someone like Archie Moore, you look at someone like Bernard Hopkins, who I think was 50, and Archie Moore, the old mongoose. You're talking about guys who stylistically were able to hang around those 10, 12, 13 years longer, 14, 15 years longer than an average fighter. And that's because they understood tricks of the trade. They understood how to pick off shots. They understood their technical skills were so sound. Now, the reason someone like Roy Jones, started getting sparked clean out is because if you watch Roy was maybe the most brilliant fighter of the 90s, right? Maybe that's, you know, maybe not to me, but to a lot of people. He was a brilliant fighter nonetheless. But everything he did, from a technical standpoint, if you were to watch that with a trainer like Eddie Futch, he was a stylistic nightmare. But he was such a freak athletically that he could get away with all those mistakes because his reflexes were so crazy that he could do shit like put his hands behind his arms. He could throw uppercuts and hooks from the outside and not pay for that because he was such a freak athletically that he could get himself out of those situations. And you could say the same for Floyd. I'm not saying Floyd not technically sound. What I'm saying is his reflexes were so big a part of his skill set. Now, with someone like Triple G, he's not relying on that. You're not talking about a guy with blazing hand speed or great head movement, really. He was a brilliant amateur, over 400 fights. His defense is underrated. People think he has no D. His defense is primarily revolves around his footwork. Will he get caught with shots? Yes. Fighters who like to punch and throw punches get hit. Chavez got hit. Chavez was also sneaky with his defense. You know what I'm saying? Look back at Chavez. He was sneaky on the inside, and he would pick shots off. Yes, Triple G will eat the occasional shot and laugh, by the way, at it. But he's sneaky. His defense is sneaky. So what I'm getting at is that Golovkin, his age, I understand that people are concerned that it's a factor, but stylistically, his style isn't one that revolves. It's not a style that like a Roy or a Floyd that's so dependent upon reflexes. So I believe that he needs to. First off, he started slow. That's not his trademark. He should start fast. He was pumping the jab beautifully, so I love that. But he needs to go to the body. He has to go to the body early and often and make it a priority to rip that body and then come back up top. Come back right up top. The hook and then come up top, right up top with the head. The straight right was landing beautifully. The jab was landing beautifully all night. Canelo, for a Mexican fighter who aren't typically known as counter punchers, Marquez changed all of that. You know what I mean? Stylistically, it started a little with Barrera and Marquez with the Mexican style. A little bit more boxing, a little bit more head movement, a little bit more countering the shots. Canelo's very good at countering, and his hands are faster than Golovkin. Golovkin's footwork is superb, and he cuts the ring off beautifully. The best in Chavez. So what you have here is similar. You have a potential chess match, but you throw in legitimate bad blood, not WWE shit. Legitimate bad blood. And Canelo talking that I'm going to knock him the fuck out shit. Now, if he comes out firing it, if you ask anyone in the sport, who would you want to trade with least in boxing? It would be Gennady Golovkin. So, if Canelo's talking about that, I'm going to knock him out shit, and it's going to be war. If he's true to that, he could get sparked clean out. Now, if he chooses to box like he did the first time, then you're going to get a similar fight from the first one. Now, to me, when Canelo really gets his shit off in combinations, he has to sit down on his punches. Because now people were saying, no, he wasn't running, he was boxing. He wasn't running, he was boxing. He was boxing beautifully. He was still going backwards all night. Only some incredible fighters can fight off the back foot and win while they're doing that. So he's coming off his back foot for a majority of these rounds, say 8 or 9 rounds. So even the shit he's getting off, he's not sitting on his punches. He's not getting mustard on his shots. You know what I mean? Or at least the full power of his shots. So if he decides to box like he did, attempt to box, there's still an aggressive manner in which to do that. And the rounds that he did win, he did that. Can he sustain that? I don't believe he can because, again, like I said at the start of the video, historically, he fades. The reason he didn't fade is because of the cleanse. You know what I'm saying? He fades and wins. In fights that he wins, he faded against Lara. He faded against Floyd. There are 2 fights I thought he lost. But there's fights where he was fading late. He was beating the dog shit out of Angulo, and he was fading then when they stopped that fight. He historically is faded late. So now you're talking about a guy who's smaller because he's not on the gas. He might be a little bit quicker now because he's smaller, which might give him an advantage in the boxing department. But can he take those heavy shots if Triple G bangs that body early because he gasses out? And the reason he didn't gas out was because what I'm telling you, because of PEDs, he didn't gas out. Again, if you don't believe that, you're naive. I'm naming fighters that I love that got knocked for being on the gas. And I continue to love them and thought that was fucked up. But everybody gets a second chance. Canelo getting a second chance. But he pissed dirty. He was a dirty fighter. He was dirty that first time around. Yeah, I just have to accept that. You know what I'm saying? It's corny that some of y'all don't. You know what I'm saying? So, really, some people are talking about the age factor. For me, I don't see it as being a factor only because of Golovkin's style. Nobody can beat Father Time. I'm not saying that. This isn't no fanboy shit. I'm not saying you can't get old overnight. It happens to the greatest ever. You get old overnight. Maybe he could get old overnight. But his style isn't indicative of someone who, you know, I feel like he could fight till he's 40 with that style. It's like the reason Tom Brady is playing while he's 40 with that line and that he always has, and that system that Belichick implemented. It's a system that allows you to fight that way. He never been beaten up. He never took a ass whooping. Bernard for so long because of that. These dudes. So when you don't take ass whippings and you're not in grueling fights because you have such destructive power and you're destroying everything in your path, your shelf life is longer. You know what I mean? That said, Canelo is in his physical prime. There is no better time for a fight. 28 to 32 is when you're just a fucking animal. Canelo always in good shape. Canelo's a superb counterpuncher. But he was fighting off the back foot, and he wasn't getting the full leverage on his shots because he wasn't sitting down on his shots because he was getting driven back by the jab. That jab, Golovkin doesn't paw with his jab. It's almost like a power punch, and every time he lands it, you have to reset. So if you're set, or if you're set to throw, right? You're ready to throw your power shots, and he lands that stiff jab, you're forced to reset. And by the time you're resetting, he's coming over the top with the right. You know, he rips the body. You know, and I say he didn't do it the first time. He landed some beautiful body shots, but not many. And the reason is he was scared. He feared the counter. But now he tasted Canelo's power, and no, he can't. He got nothing for him. So I cannot give y'all a prediction because of Oscar, his power and his pull in Vegas. The obvious corrupt scorecard of Adelaide Bird, 118-110 for Canelo, which is criminal. She should never be allowed to judge again in any combat sport because these guys risk their lives in there. That's the difference between combat sports. They're talking about life and death. She should never be. You know, the judges for tonight usually do a good job. The referee has to do a good job. But those guys are fighting a very high level. You're talking about two top guys, man. Very rarely do you get pound-for-pound guys. You're seeing something very special. When you saw Andre Ward and Kovalev, very special, pound-for-pound guys. When you saw Lomachenko Regandia, you're seeing very special, top pound-for-pound guys. You're seeing a rematch of pound-for-pound guys. This is high-level shit. It's why the ref has to be good and stern, but you don't really see the ref in fights like this because it's such high-level shit, and those guys know what they're doing. So as far as a prediction, I can't call it because I think there are so many X factors like the last one. I don't know how Canelo will react to those power shots not on a PED. You know, I don't. Will Golovkin do what I would like him to do and go balls to the wall early on? Yo, he might knock him out, or he could. But Canelo chin crazy. He's got an iron chin. Golovkin got an iron chin. What do I expect? I expect it to go 12 again. And if it's close, Golovkin not getting a decision in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? If it's close, either way, we'll probably see a third one because that's what's best. You know what I'm saying? But my prediction is for y'all to enjoy it. And enjoy that you're seeing something very special. You don't get to see this often. Fighters of this caliber that perform at a level this high are willing to fight each other. And so that's my 2 cents. You know, I'm a fan of both fighters, but I'm a Triple G guy at heart. I'm pulling for him. Canelo wins fair and square. God bless him as well. I'm just hoping for a really good fight. So I apologize for the lack of a prediction, but you know, if it goes the distance, you know, it basically Golovkin has to knock Canelo out to get a draw in Vegas. And if someone go to sleep, I think it's going to be Canelo. That's it. I just wanted to drop a video because a lot of y'all been hitting me up. So watch the undercards too, man. If you're a casual boxing fan, you got good guys on there. Chocolatito was the pound-for-pound king for a long time. He's fighting, and Jaime Munguia is a prospect that people are excited about. And Spike O'Sullivan and David Lemieux should be good too. So, God bless everybody. Have a beautiful weekend, and I'll see y'all on tour. Start next week. Be on the East Coast next week, and then Cali, and then Europe in November. So dates are on jmthiphop.com. And for me and my buddy Edgar, wish y'all a happy weekend. Enjoy the fights. Be safe. If you're out there, you're drinking, don't drive. Take a Lyft or an Uber and be safe. All right. God bless y'all. I'll see y'all soon.